There are 28 students in a class. 16 of those students are men. What percent of the class are women? Round to the nearest tenth. Using the part over whole, we know that there are 28 students in the class, so 28 is the whole. 16 of those students are men. What percent are women? So 28 minus 16 must be the number of women. So 12 is the part that are women. Using the proportion, part over whole equals percent over 100, we can see that the percent is the amount that we don't know. It's always a good idea to reduce the fraction when possible, so we'll start by reducing the 12 and the 28 each by 4 to get 3 over 7. Just makes the rest of the math a little easier. We can now see that 7x equals 300. And when we divide both sides by 7, we can see that's not going to go evenly. So we will have to round off as the problem suggests. So we have x is approximately equal to 42.9%. Donovan took a math test and got 35 correct and 10 incorrect answers. What was the percentage of correct answers? Well, if he got 35 correct and 10 incorrect, that means there was a total of 45 questions. If we want to know the percent correct, the part is 35, the whole is 45, we don't know the percent, and the proportion always ends with 100. As before, we can reduce to 7 over 9 because each of these is divisible by 5. So 9x is equal to 700, dividing both sides by 9. 700 divided by 9 is approximately 77.78%. A metal bar weighs 8.15 ounces. 93% of the bar is silver. How many ounces of silver are in the bar? Well, silver is just a portion of what is in the bar. So what we don't know is the part, how many ounces are actually silver. We do know that the bar has a total of 8.15 ounces and that 93% or 93% of that is silver. So we have x over 8.15 equals 93 over 100. 93 and 100 don't have any common factors, so all we can do is cross multiply. Multiplying 93 by 8.15, we have 757.95 equals 100x. Dividing each side by 100 just means moving the decimal point 2 places to make it smaller. So x is equal to 7.5795. But notice the instructions say round to the nearest thousandth. So we're going to say 7.580 ounces. There are 36 carpenters in a crew. On a certain day, 29 were present. What percent showed up for work? So the part is 29 and the whole is 36. We don't know the percent. 29's prime, so we can't reduce that fraction. All we can do is cross multiply. 36x is equal to 2900. Dividing both sides by 36. X is approximately equal to 2900 divided by 36 is, well, it's exactly equal to 80.5 repeating, but this says to the nearest tenth, so 80.6%. A student answered 86 problems on a test correctly and received a grade of 98%. How many problems were on the test if all problems were worth the same number of points? Round to the nearest whole number. So the number of questions that were answered correctly is 86 out of an unknown total number of questions. We know that 98 out of 100, so 98% were answered correctly. The 98 and the 100 could be reduced to 49 over 50 to make our numbers a little bit smaller. So we will need to multiply the 86 by the 50. So I have 49x equals 4,300. Dividing both sides by 49, we can see that x is approximately equal to 88. It was 87.755. And since we're supposed to go to the nearest whole number, that rounds up to 88 questions. Pamela bought an electric drill at 85% of the regular price. She paid $32.89 for the drill. What was the regular price? Well, the regular price would be the whole. This is some percentage of that. So $32.89 is the part of an unknown whole at 85% of the regular price. 85 and 100 could be reduced. If we divide by 5, we're going to have a 20 and 17. That'll just make our numbers a little bit smaller. So 17x is going to equal 657.8. And if we divide both sides by 17, x will be approximately equal to 38.694. We're rounding to the nearest cent, so the original price was around $38.69. Ben earns $12,800 in a year. About 15% is taken out for taxes. How much is taken out for taxes? Well, the amount of taxes will be the part of his whole salary, and we know it's 15%. Again, we can reduce. This would be 3 over 20 to make our numbers a little smaller. So the 12,800 will need to be multiplied by 3 to get 38,400 is equal to 20x. Dividing both sides by 20, we can see that that reduces by 10 to make things slightly smaller. So 3,840 divided by 2 says that he will pay $1,920 in taxes. Joseph drives 125 miles in 2.5 hours. At the same rate, how far will he be able to travel in 6 hours? So 125 miles in 2.5 hours. Actually, this problem was on a previous note sheet. We can skip this one. This is from the proportions notes. We did this problem in lesson 2. At a sale, shirts were sold for $15 each. The sale was 20% off. What was the original price? Okay, we have to realize that if the sale was 20% off, that means we paid 80% of the original price. So if $15 is the part and we don't know the whole, the original price, that has to be equal to 80 over 100. First, dropping the zeros, we can still reduce a little bit further to 4 over 5, making our math just a bit simpler. So 4x is equal to 75. And if we divide both sides by 4, we'll get the original price of $18.75.